Hey.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 4M podcast. I am your host, Molly DeMarco.
And I am your co-host, Mike Schroeder.
And we're starting this podcast because I like music and movies. And
I like movies, and I also like music.
Yeah, and we want to talk about it together and with you all. Yeah. All right, to get right into it, we're going to talk about ourselves and where we are at in life and musically and movie-ically. It is now a word. You're welcome. Stickers will be made later on.
We're going to make a dictionary. We're going to have a whole book of terms to learn.
You're welcome. I actually am going to be talking about my musical verbiage. Anyway, we're going to be talking about ourselves, and then we're going to talk about our plans for how the podcast will be laid out. Yeah.
Yahoo.
I'll go first. I am from near Albany, New York, and musically, I have been singing for basically ever. I'm not going to be like, I've been singing since I was 2, because who knows that? I don't. And I do know in 5th grade I started playing trumpet, which was really exciting. Shout out brass. Go team. And I've been in choirs and jazz bands and wind ensembles. And I met Mike in a choir. Shout out Mike, sitting next to me. And then I ended up going to college, and I got a bachelor's degree in music. Graduated May 2023. Let's go. When I was in high school, I really enjoyed being in band and singing in the choirs and the audition choir with Mike, but I never really thought that could be something I could continue to do after high school. I had this massive fear that my parents would be like, you cannot do what you really want to do. You should do something that will actually make you make money. Yay! And I really enjoyed history. Shout out history. I just this drama.
Shout out history. You've been around a long time.
Yeah, it's like drama for dead people. I used to love it. You're like, oh, he did what in 1801? What the heck?
What do you mean they went to war?
Yes. So obviously I like Hamilton, but we can talk about that another time. Let me live. So I ended up going to college with the intention of having a double major, history and music. I studied abroad in London the summer before my junior year. Basically, stuff happened, and I realized that music would be my main thing. And like that music would be my plan A and my plan B, and then history would be my plan C. Because when I was in college, I did voice lessons, arranging lessons, composition lessons, conducting lessons. It was wild, and it was awesome. I do want to also note, though, I'm not going to be pulling out like crazy musical terms. I mean, I think
you should pull artists that no one's ever heard of and be like, oh, have you heard of this really great band called like Burnt Waffle?
Yeah.
They're so good.
I don't, like, I hear a lot of people be like, that was such a, I can't even think of like a complex musical term right now that I just would like want to say in my everyday vocabulary. So I'm not going to try and be that. But if I do, I like to explain it. Like, it should be fun and simple and understandable. So, anyway. Then I took a gap year because college was crazy in a good way. And I worked for the Walt Disney Company as a character attendant in Walt Disney World. Shout out Mickey Mouse. That was wild. Now I'm back at home, just chilling with Mike doing the podcast for a while. And I'm probably going to go to grad school in September for jazz and contemporary music with a concentration in voice. So yeah, I like to say that I like a lot of genres. I'm not going to say I like all genres because I know there's something crazy I've never heard before in my life.
It's also super pretentious to be like, I like everything.
I will have to say though, if I am in a car with someone and they put on music, even though I might not voluntarily go and listen to that myself, I'm gonna be like, okay, like I'll listen to that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be like, okay.
Don't trash someone else's opinion.
Well, yeah, I can find a way to like rock with it though. Like I can find a way to not hate it, unless it's like, you're in my tractor now. Although, shout out, I do like, she thinks my tractor.
Kenny Chesney, if you're listening, we respect you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, my music tastes have ranged. I like to when I talk about my tastes, I like to think about it in like a timeline. I kind of started tracking musical phases in my life starting junior year of high school. That was when I started my Queen phase. Shout out Queen. And then I moved to disco for about a year and a half because I discovered Saturday Night Fever. I also say things like I discovered. I want you guys to know I'm well aware that I didn't discover that. But like to me, I did like I discovered disco and it was crazy. Even though disco has been around for basically forever in my opinion. But whatever. So yeah, I kind of
70s are forever.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
Sorry, older listeners.
Yeah. But yeah, I like to talk about music as a bigger timeline in my life, and I organize my own music playlist based on when I found the songs in my life, so I can go back and be like, oh, I was in like the fall semester of 2022 listening to this song, yeah, and that's really cool. And I can also see what I started to like when I started to listen to Aretha Franklin, and she became my life for a while, and then when Doja Cat became my life, whatever. Anyway, a personal connection I have with movies and music in conjunction with one another is I really enjoyed when I I still do this. So when I enjoy movies in the theater, most of the time, like most of my family like knows this. Like now because after credit scenes are so normalized, so that's the only reason why I really enjoy after credit scenes.
Watch the credits.
I watch the credits and I'll when they're when they're scrolling, I like to like look at names and like try and look up like a random name and see like who they are and like what they did. And then I always like doing that, and then I like because then I can listen to the score keep playing and everything, and I feel like everyone leaves and I'm like, this is really not over. It's kind of like if you were seeing an opera or a concert like that,
leaving
like
on the last song being like, all right, well, this is it.
yeah. Or like when we saw Up and they were doing the end credit and I was freaking out and everyone was leaving and I was like, what the heck? They're missing like
Yeah, there was a fairly large audience.
Yeah.
So as much as your car is important, Up is more important.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably talk about concert etiquette or something like that, but like no. You stay until the end. So that was crazy. I will also say when I went to Florida, when I lived in Florida for a year, I got AMC. Was it AMC stubs? And basically, it's one of those.
Nicole Kidman.
Basically, it's one of those.
What the movies are for.
Yeah, basically, it's one of those things where you pay like $20 a month to see 3 movies a week. I got that because it was the AMC on Disney property, and my sister and I would see. I saw so many movies because of that, and we obviously because of COVID didn't go to movies for a while, and seeing so many movies in such a short amount of time, not like a year is a short amount of time, but at that time that's a short amount of time, and I really forgot how much I like making the experience of it all, because we would like bring food and we would like sit, we would get there beforehand, and then we'd stay there afterwards, and then we'd talk about it. And gonna say this now, I like Taylor Swift. Let me live.
It happens.
Do I know every single song in her discography? Perhaps.
Are there teardrops on her guitar? Sure.
Yep. I will say, though, for anyone who's like, oh, I can't listen now, she's like a diehard Swiftie, the only way I'll be upset at other people is if they're, like, talking bad about, like, Taylor Swift herself. I totally respect you.
If you insult the hosts for what they like. It's not appropriate or kind.
That too. I will have to say, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I get that Taylor Swift's music is not for everyone. I'll talk about my relationship with pop music, but I realize that it's not all that serious. It doesn't have to be all that groundbreaking. And some of her stuff is all the same, but it's really good. To me. I don't care.
Here's my music taste. If you want to hear something that sounds all the same, listen to YouTube.
But like, yeah, well, actually, I do need to do that. My dad really likes YouTube. I only have one song by them. So. Sorry.
With or without you, is that the only one everyone knows? Bang! I win.
I will have to say, like,
Listen
the
to
Eras.
Same radio station at work for years.
Yeah. But the Eras Tour movie experience was really awesome for me, and that also jump started my like need for favoring experiences over
Yeah.
other things, because that was really awesome.
I also like, this is just a tangent, that's okay. I like visualization of concerts as film for people that can't afford to go to the concerts themselves.
Yep.
Like, for example, I was not alive in the 80s, and the Talking Heads are a phenomenal band to me. So when they released Stop Making Sense with A24, I was very happy, and I now own the vinyl and the movie itself in 4K. And I recently saw Hans Zimmer in concert in the movie theater. And when I tell you that The Circle of Life hits different in a theater, I am not joking. It bangs.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of crazy. And now I'm here. Did I kind of, I mean...
I think you got it.
Yeah. I will say, we'll talk about it in the future. Some of my favorite genres, I will say, overall, disco. I do enjoy classical music. Orchestral music, we'll talk about a lot. And jazz. Right now, I'm really into pop, and I'm going to talk about that later. But that's, like, really rare. It's really rare that I like pop, mainstream pop, as much as I do right now. So you're probably like, oh, she's so basic. But I promise you, I'm usually not this basic. Just slightly less basic than right now. So.
If there was a tier list, B.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
So, hi. I'm Mike, as I already introduced myself. I am from the same area as Molly, and I was a year ahead of her in high school. And we met in the select choir class, mind you. We were both musically inclined as teenagers.
We were so cool.
Yeah, I did set design during the musicals that she was in. It was pretty fun.
I also did musical theater, yup.
Yeah, so we met in high school. We didn't really know each other until the select choir, and our teacher would, like, organize us, like, by random to, like, even out the 4 different sound groups from the class.
In quartet form, too.
Yeah, and that is when Molly and I were, like, put next to each other, and we were like, what's up?
Yeah.
Because we didn't know what was going on, and that was when we met, and it was pretty fun. So a little bit about my post-high school life. I started at a local college right after high school. I went for 2 years, and I went for digital media, thinking I was going to go for storyboard drawing for animation. And halfway through my time at the college, I realized it was not my thing anymore. So I kind of flipped in, like, I was still in the digital media track, but there was a program that was, like, specifically for graphic design within that class group. So I went into that. And that is when I, like, found my footing in the world of art that I was looking for. And I took a gap year during COVID just because I was like, it's going to be a mess. I'm not going to mess with that. So I took a gap year, and during that, kind of just worked on my portfolio, worked 2 jobs for a little while, and then I actually went to a college that a professor recommended me to because it was his alma mater. And I got in, and... you know, I'm just going to say the name of the college. I went to Purchase College, and I did a pretty good job there. I graduated December of 23 with a bachelor's in graphic design, fine arts, technically. And I graduated as a published author with my senior project, which is pretty sweet. Yeah. But during, like, ever since childhood, I've had this, like, natural gravitation towards watching movies. Like, I grew up with, like, the classics in my house as a kid were, like, The Incredibles and The Iron Giant occasionally I'd watch Tron just because I thought the bikes were cool. And then 2010 came around, Tron Legacy dropped, and I was like, this is my life for like a solid 8 months. And everyone hated me for it. It was awesome. And so that love for movies actually like skyrocketed in college, because my first semester of college I took this English course, and the final was like film analysis. It was to track the plot and the characters, and to like show what themes the characters are conveying and what conflicts they have with one another based on like the 6 categories. And the movie I chose for this was 2016's Moonlight by Barry Jenkins. And I had never like watched or sought after critically acclaimed movies. So that was like my entryway into like the larger world, based on like previously just being like a Marvel diehard fan as a teenager. So it felt very refreshing to watch a new movie like that. And it was like very powerful compared to other movies that I had seen. So that was kind of like where the switch flipped. And I was like, I want to get into this shit hardcore. Mind my language. So, throughout my college time, or time in college, I watched a lot of movies, and I continue to do so. It's hard to pick a genre, as pretentious as it sounds. I like all of them. I would say, like, by classification, I think art house is like what I steer myself away from, where it's like conceptual film rather than like narrative based, because it's just a thing. I like having a storyline with concrete characters, and like sure there's like abstract themes throughout the movie, but if it's a movie where I have to ask what's happening, I will not like it. So
Makes sense.
I would say I gravitate towards comedy, just because I like humor and it's fun. In a dreary world that we live in, 21st century, what up? And I like animation a lot, given that I wanted to do storyboard art as a student in college. And that's kind of where I'm at. But right now, I'm working full time. Yeah. It's the life of a fresh college grad. Woo! So during my time at Purchase College, yeah, make sure to put emphasis on that. I went to Purchase College. It's public record. It's a public school. Who cares? Mm-hmm. I lived with screenwriting majors. So that kind of got me into watching like movies with more meaning, rather than watching like surface level comedies. Like, sure, you can catch me watching Ace Ventura on any given day. That's a classic. But there's just a lot of good movies out there that I did not know about until classmates and roommates were like, yo, check this out. It's pretty good. Lo and behold, they were right. So my catalog is currently like, my digital copy catalog alone is nearing 500 titles, and that's outside of streaming services. But yeah, cool. I grew up going to the drive-in a lot. That was a staple of being a child for me. I went a lot during COVID, just because I had like the love of movies by that time, and I had a car, and I wanted to keep the industry alive in any way I could as one person. And I got to see a lot of like classics on the drive-in screen that I didn't think I would see in large format. Like, I saw Jaws, Jurassic Park, Goonies, Gremlins. It was great. But yeah, so there's I wouldn't say a community, but there are like 8 different drive-ins within the Albany area that we live in. And I've made it a personal trek to visit like 6 of them so far. I think I got one in the Lake George area and one in like near Vermont. And then that's all of them for me.
Nice.
But
we've been to
a few of them.
Yeah.
I'm a film fan. I wouldn't say I study film. Like Molly knows music inside and out. I enjoy movies. I did not go to school for it. You won't hear me saying intricate film terminology. I know directors' names. I know their movies.
Yeah.
That's that. I enjoy movies.
Yeah.
And music.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do want to say is towards the end of my high school career, I started like arranging music for my trumpet pals. Shout out, you know who you are. And I was doing that, and then I wanted to listen to classical music to sleep because I thought, you know, it would make me smarter or whatever, make me more focused. But then I wouldn't be able to.
Mozart.
I know. I wouldn't be able to sleep because I listened to classical music, and I was like, whoa, this is so amazing. And then towards that time is when I started liking orchestral music as well, and I had no idea that you could watch like orchestras like play like movies live in concert. I had no idea that was a thing. And I guess right after I graduated high school, Mike was like, hey, you want to go see Up in concert? And we'll talk about our like top favorite movies of all time later on at some point.
Loaded, but yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy awesome episode. Please watch it, listen to it. There we go, listen to it. I love Up, Disney's Up, duh. And so yeah, we went to see it, and we were like the last row.
Yeah, we were on the edge of the lawn seats.
Yeah. And you know when you cry at like the normal parts, if you haven't seen Up, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you know the major death scene.
Up, it's been out for 15 years.
The major death scene in the first 15 minutes, obviously we all cry at that. But I remember crying at the most random part of the movie. And
it was when the music started.
It was, to me in my timeline in my musical life, that was really fundamental because I was like, dude, I like sitting here and I like watching, and this is like so crazy to talk about because like Mike is literally the dude that brought me there, and now we're like talking right now. But like I remember thinking like I want to be the person who's, you know, flicking the baton. I want to be the person that's playing that note, and I want to, yeah. So that was like, I am doing the right thing. I love making music and connecting with people and talking about it. And I also wanted to note that when Mike said he used to watch like
Marvel. I was a Marvel kid.
Yes.
In middle school and high school.
I like Marvel a lot.
Things change.
Yeah, I like Marvel a lot, and I liked it during that time. And I always remembered talking about it with Mike and a couple of our other friends.
True.
And I actually, the way that this podcast kind of sort of started was I watched Captain America, the new one. I want to watch something. I wanted to talk about it with someone more than my parents. And I was like, I want to talk about it with Mike. And then I was like, well, if I want to tell my other friends all of our thoughts, then we should talk about it for an actual thing that we're recording. So,
yeah,
you're welcome.
So I'm coming into this podcast as a co-host. It was Molly's idea, as she just said.
What's up?
Yeah, thanks. And I'm coming into it just with like a passion for movies, as mentioned. Mm-hmm. And I'm coming into it from like an educational standpoint, not to like educate an audience, but mm-hmm. to educate myself, because I know a lot about movies, not so much about music. And then with Molly, as far as I know, it's the other way around, where she mm-hmm. knows a lot about music, wants to know more about movies. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like this symbiotic discussion, hence the title, The 4M, which is also The Forum. It's fun wordplay. The 4M is Mike, Molly, music, and movies.
Yeah!
Great. So, yeah, that's Molly with the music, mm-hmm. and Mike with the movies.
I do have to say, though, that we have talked a little bit about our music movies taste before this, and I think that Mike is already on his way to having great music knowledge and taste.
Excuse
and
me?
I think you do.
What?
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out. And I do enjoy a lot of movies, but you are gonna see that I have a pretty basic. Yep, but it's fine. I will bring out the random Barbie movie from time to time, and you know what? It's gonna happen, and it has to happen.
I will
But
not.
other than that, I think if you're looking for a podcast to listen to, we're just gonna be really relaxed. We're just here to really educate ourselves and talk about it with you guys. We're not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't listen to or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Just to share our own opinions.
And even if it does, like, there will be times where we'll be like, audience, you should check this out if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, a staple in our lives, and if you like it, you'll be part of it.
Yep.
As much as I talked about my movie taste, my music taste is also broad, but there are some things that I don't really listen to. Like, sure, I listen to folk country, but, like, stadium country, more recent stuff I don't really listen to. For example, like, Blake Shelton, Miranda Lambert, not really my thing. 1 or 2 songs are good, but I would say the breadth of my music taste comes from the 60s to today. And it depends on the genre for what is being covered. Like, the 80s, I have a 10-hour playlist called the MTV Generation, and it covers from 1981 to, like, 2003. And it's just
nice.
A compilation of crazy stuff that, like, whether it was featured on MTV or the artist was, like, in a commercial bumper for MTV. And it's a lot of fun. I do like the 60s, like, bouncy pop, like soda pop shop from 50s, 60s stuff. Like the Grease soundtrack, banger.
Oh, banger.
Yes. Yeah.
Period.
I'm not shaming you.
I know. If you haven't heard Grease, like the title track,
by Frankie Valli,
please do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
You're in a car, windows down, it's not raining, and it's light outside.
Yeah.
Yep. I said that. Okay.
All right.
Play that.
So.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, you could say I have a basic interest in movies. I mean, no, yeah, my movie interests are kind of basic. For genres, I really gravitate towards romance movies and also action movies.
Speed.
Yeah.
Also, no shame on romance movies. My number 1 and my number 3 are both romance movies.
I also really enjoy like tragic storylines for some reason.
Movies that are certified bummers.
Yeah, like
dang.
And also that are mostly historically accurate. Like Titanic is crazy. Like dramas.
The dude that hits the propeller.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's crazy. I'm so sorry. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Obviously, Disney and animation is awesome. Oh, I was also gonna say, like, was it dystopian? I like dystopian.
Like sci-fis?
Like, what is...
Or alternate reality kind of thing?
Like, the girlies know, like, Divergent and Maze Runner.
Like dystopian book adaptation.
Yeah, even though I do not read those books. Letting you all know right now.
I did in high school.
I audiobooked the Harry Potters, but yeah.
Shout out 9th grade math class when I got yelled at for reading The Maze Runner in the back row. Continue.
So yeah, that's what I would say. For some reason, I just really like tragedies, though. It's so, like, pulling on your heartstrings, and I feel for you. I feel that.
I have some sad movies for you.
And it also pulls you in and makes you think, like you know that like is real, like in like another lifetime, like that could have been real, whatever. And like that's something that's sad and that happened. And yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. And
okay.
You could also say that music conveys that emotion, but movies show it too.
Absolutely.
Where it's like the composer is given a movie and they're like, make it sound like that feels.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh. We could talk about Up all the time for that.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
You could talk about a lot of movies like that.
I know, but like, I'm trying to think about one that we already mentioned.
Me personally, the end credit music for Castaway does it for me.
Castaway.
Not the Backyardigans.
We are Castaway.
I'm thinking Alan Silvestri's Castaway end titles.
Oh, Alan.
Yes.
Okay. Touche.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
that was our intro.
Yes. That's
oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Okay. Anyway. All right. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna give you a little sneak peek about the segments we want to include in our podcast each week. And yeah. So here is the format.
Okay. So each week, I'm just gonna list them off rather than do it like step by step. Shout out Backstreet Boys.
Step by step.
Nice. We were both on that.
Baby.
Yeah, so each week we're gonna bring you topics. The first one being Center Stage, which is gonna be like the up to date on movies and music news, whether it be album announcements, trailer drops, recent movie releases, controversy in the industry, whatever it may be. And you'll see it on our Instagram stories as well, but we are going to cover it in audio for those that don't see the Instagram stories in case you missed it, kind of thing. And without those Instagram stories, it would feel really spaced out. So we're trying to be active in the communities, which is fun.
Also, I would note that, I mean, for me on the music side, I'm not going to know about everything. Like, we're not going to...
For sure. Like,
yeah, there's so much medium happening. And
yeah, there's so many different artists, and there's too many. There is a podcast that I listen to that's about movies being in surplus.
He's so cool.
Yeah, there's simply an excess of movies. So not all of them will be covered, but like the ones that reach a larger audience will be. Like a recent trailer for Mission Impossible dropped, and it's got millions of views already. So
whoa.
Yeah. But like things like that.
And we also have like bias. Like if I see stuff, I'm gonna see more stuff about the people I'm listening to right now, and I'm gonna care about that more than like someone maybe I don't even know. Like, oh, they're coming out with an album. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and I follow,
you guys understand.
I follow like Rotten Tomatoes on Instagram where they post trailer updates. And I follow like the major studios like Sony, Universal, Lionsgate, and they're all like, "Hey, we just announced this casting," and you're like, "Whoa, Keanu Reeves is in another movie," and Duke Kaboom himself. Come on, man.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, true. He is Neo, but Duke Kaboom comes first.
All right. Okay.
See, this is what this podcast is about, guys.
For some reason, I love The Matrix, too.
Well, so do I. I'm joking about Toy Story 4. You'll see that later on.
Whoa.
You'll see my take on Toy Story 4.
Whoa.
But, yeah, so that's...
Still hear about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the plan. And
for Center Stage.
Also during Center Stage, we want to talk about like our personal Center Stage. What are we listening to the week we make the podcast? For me, it's mostly going to be the same album playing over and over and over and over again. So, yeah. So
I am on the other side. There will be a lot of rewatches that I do. I do like watching new movies, but it's everyone watches a lot of movies a lot of times.
For some reason, I'm really into shows right now. I haven't watched a lot of movies other than Don't Look Up like 5 times so far.
What?
Yeah.
I've watched it once.
I have a problem or a solution. And so Mike can also talk. I'm not just here to talk about music, obviously. Yeah. This is you get it. You're picking up on it.
I've been watching a lot of shows recently as well, and I'm getting back into watching movies. Yeah. You can only watch Severance so many times before your brain pops.
I'm watching. Always watching.
Okay, Roz. All right.
The next segment after Center Stage is each week we're going to have our own little ranking, and we'll rank our top 5 whatevers. So, Mike, what's the topic for this week? You can't see me. I'm drumming.
Ba-doom-tsh. Yeah. That was really bad. Sorry.
Fake drums. Air drums. Okay.
Top 5 Pixar characters.
Yeah. Mike, you want to go first?
Sure. So my honorable mention number 5 for favorite Pixar character. I don't have these written down, so I'm going from the heart.
Should we also say, like, this is our, should we talk about rankings?
Oh, yeah, it should be personal, not critically. Like, you won't agree with us. You don't have to.
Yeah, I was asking Mike, I was like, well, I was trying to rank other stuff in preparation for this, because it's so hard for me to choose sometimes. A lot of the time you guys are going to hear it. And I was like, well, is it like what is the best or what I personally enjoy? Because you could argue like a lot of different things are better, but it's what we have our own personal connection to. So for me, I'm trying to make it like a mix of both, with obviously my personal stuff being like at the forefront. But yeah. Okay. Continue.
Cool. So I don't have my top 5 in front of me today, but I'm going to go from the heart.
Yeah.
My number 5 for Pixar characters, I think would have to be Hopper from A Bug's Life.
Whoa, okay.
He was daunting when I was a kid. I always thought he was kind of creepy. Separate the art from the artist. It is Kevin Spacey. The nature of his character, like, sure, he's just exploiting the ants, but it's kind of, I don't know. I was always put off by him, but he holds a place, so he's my number 5. These rankings, just mind, they are personal rankings. They are not subject to outside opinion. They are just what we believe. Cool.
Period. Okay. You already said yours.
Number 5.
So, it's my turn for my number 5. Now, I try to think about characters that I thought were complex in like a cool way. It was unexpected, but I also liked them. And I think this one's, I don't know. I'm so nervous as to what Mike's going to think. I don't know why. Anyway, my top 5. My 5th is Joy from Inside Out.
That is a good pick. I agree.
She's so cutie, and
she's fun.
I also like that she wasn't all yellow. This is like really silly, but like she has like blue hair. Like all the other ones are like all the same color, and it's like, and I like that she had to learn that
she also has a green dress.
There's sadness. True. There's sadness in finding happiness, and I think that's why she has like blue hair. Like if I really had my,
so symbolic, man.
Yeah. And even in Inside Out 2, she had something else to learn, and even though I thought she was a little annoying in the first one, I couldn't lie, she really reminded me of like Woody. Hot take. But
no, she didn't want her place taken away.
Yeah.
That was Woody.
And I can fully understand that, and as someone who's had to learn that it's really okay to be sad, and like especially using that to help you heal and move on is really awesome. And I think that's something that was super cool that they put in a kids movie that is still relevant today with everyone, I feel.
Like the ending when Riley is like in a ball on the floor in their San Francisco house. That's like the biggest part of the movie, like in terms of the storyline and for my personal takeaway from it.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I want to go to Minnesota. And the parents are like, we miss it too. You're not alone. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, so it's not, you can't, I wouldn't say you can't mask, but like it teaches you that masking only lasts so long. Yeah.
Period. All right.
Number 4.
1, 2, 3,
right.
4.
My number 4 is Syndrome from The Incredibles.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a loud clap, but that was a good one.
Yeah, my number 4 is Syndrome from The Incredibles. He wasn't as scary as Hopper when I was a kid, but he was a good villain, as much as it's like kind of a drawn out premise now.
It's bigger.
It's better.
It's what is it?
It's too much for Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, that reveal of the Omni Droid in the meeting room, jump scare when I was 4 years old. Never forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's safe to say we both really enjoy Incredibles. I love The Incredibles. Do you love The Incredibles? Is that like
I do love The Incredibles.
Yeah. No.
It's my number one on my other ranking list.
Period.
We'll get to it.
Okay. Yeah, and I feel like when I was younger, I didn't fully get it. I didn't fully understand that, like, Bob and Helen, they were going through some stuff, and I didn't.
Yeah, there was no marital struggle when I was 4 years old.
Yeah. I also, actually, I wasn't as scared of Syndrome that I was then as I am kind of now. Like, I didn't realize that Bro was literally gonna kill him. I know that Helen was like...
Bro was gonna terrorize a city.
I know.
He did.
I know that my girl, Elastigirl, she was like, these aren't like the guys on TV. Like, I didn't even listen to her, though, when I was younger. I was like, no, Syndrome's not like that. I just, like, he just doesn't like him.
Yeah.
I did not realize that then, and until, like, now that he, like, literally like, killed off, like, all the other supers just to get to that. That's crazy to me. I'm like, oh my god. Sorry, I'm taking over your ranking. But
No, you're not.
I'm very pleased that you said that because... Yeah. I'm such a sucker for you get the villain, the villain was a great person and then something happened and then they turned bad. Where, like, the hero essentially,
it was like a skewed perspective thing where, like, they saw the situation differently and it caused them to go down this path.
Yes. Mike is going to correct me and say my thoughts in the most amazing ways, and I am so excited for it, and you all better be too. Great. Okay.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 in the same movie, I put Edna Mode.
And guest.
She's so cutie. I love her. I think it's, like, so funny that they have a fashion designer for superheroes. I also love her look, like the weird triangular shapes, and yeah, she's just iconic, and I love that she was still in the second movie and that she's just as important as them, and she meets at Disney World. Shout out Edna. And yeah, that's really simple, but she's iconic. Short and sweet queen.
Yeah,
for real, she is also short and sweet.
True.
That's the mío puesto. Your turn. Number 3.
My number 3 all time for Pixar characters.
You can do it.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Buzz Lightyear for number 3, which gives a lot of leadway to the other 2, but they will make sense. The reason Buzz Lightyear is my number 3, I would have to say, is he was kind of like, not to make a pun, but he was spaced out in the first movie. Stop it. And he got his footing. He learned his ways, and he was like, all right, I'm not who I thought I was supposed to be, and, like, accepts it, moves on, accepts the role and the life that he's given, and I kind of like that.
Nice. Tim Allen. The Nation's Santa Claus.
Home Improvement.
Or that too. The Santa Claus 3.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What's your number 3?
Okay, we're gonna... how many times are we gonna say what we're gonna talk about? But we're gonna talk about this at some point. I love the Cars universe. And my number 3... Absolutely. My number 3 is Cruz Ramirez from Cars 3. I love her. I feel that her and I are very similar in terms of trying to stay positive.
You both have 4 wheels.
Yes. When we name them. No. Yeah, no. My car does not have a name.
Neither does mine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's just because I don't want to, like, every single time I find a name for my car, I, like, want to change it to something else. And
my situation is every time I find a name for a car, it gets hurt. So I did not name this car, and it's doing pretty well so far.
Nice. That rhymed. You rhyme all the time. Yeah, I would say Cruz Ramirez. I like that Lightning McQueen, like, helped. I loved her relationship with Lightning and how he got her to, like, taking over for
Overcome
him.
her fear.
Yes, and I like that she had, this is, like, sad. But I like that she had like a sadness, and then she was kind of like masking it with like optimism, and she was like, that's just how I'm gonna live my life. And she was totally fine with being a trainer, it seemed like. And then when he came her way, she was like, holy crap. And then he realized that she had more, and he was like, that just that little push for her. It's sad that he was being like a little annoying. He really annoyed me a little bit more than he annoyed me in Cars 2. And then he just pushed her to look, their fight made me so sad, and I feel like he needed to hear her story, and I hate that like she had to explode and tell him like that. But I just love that. I just love the outcome of Cars 3. I think it was so, I will talk about it later. What a shock. I love her, and I love Cars 3. I also love the color yellow. Don't hate me. I do. And that's also why I think her and I are very similar. I love Cruise. Yeah. Do you want me to say my 2?
No, I got my 2.
Oh.
I have my 2 and my 1.
Oh, okay.
My number 2 is Frozone from The Incredibles. First off, you gotta love Sam Jackson in pretty much any movie he does.
For real.
But he kind of became the voice of a generation when he did Honey, Where's My Supersuit? And the hidden ice puns that he would make throughout the movie that aren't like deliberate or thrown at you.
Yeah.
But, and like he catches on, like they make a joke and he's like, huh, haven't heard that one before. And you're like,
Yeah.
Nice, this dude's cool.
Yeah.
But for lack of a better word, he's pretty chill. You can assault me in the comments. But yeah, Frozone, he's like, sure, he's not like of the Incredibles family, but he's still like a staple to who they are.
Yeah, he's practically in their family, especially in Incredibles 2, helping them out there.
Well, yeah, he's technically like a legal guardian when the parents aren't available.
Yeah.
And in the first movie, they all know like his wife's name, so like they're all family friends.
Cool.
But they are, if you haven't seen The Incredibles, get on that. But
Yeah.
they're friends from the hero years. Like they know each other inside and out.
Yeah.
For
I mean, I didn't even realize until like last year that Syndrome was originally looking for him. Like,
yeah,
I
and they
did-
were like,
when
you
I
want to
was-
switch to the other guy?
When I was a kid, I literally didn't even think about that. I was like, oh, they're looking. Yeah. I was whatever. Anyway,
Yeah, they
pretty
were like,
girl, blonde hair.
They were like, Frozone. No, this dude just took down a building.
Also,
How about that?
also this is random, but there are theme songs in the second movie.
Yes.
I originally was like, I don't like that.
Who's the cat that's always chill?
Making things after, like, why didn't you have it in the first movie? But I actually really enjoyed those two, and his was good.
Who's the cat that's always chill, man?
It was just nice and
Yeah.
yeah. My number 2 is gonna be a Lotso Hug and Bear from Toy Story 3. Now, I don't know how to feel based off how Mike is looking at me.
I have some hot takes on Toy Story 3, but continue.
Yup. So we'll talk about those another time. I actually enjoyed Toy Story 3 a
Well,
lot.
so do I, but it's, yeah.
I just think a very complex character. Like, that is, I thought that was such a good way to go about it. Like, there's toys that have great families. There's toys that, think that,
Like
No.
Sid.
yes, there's toys that, like, think that they're in their thing, like Buzz Lightyear, and then there's toys that are owned by Daisy, and then stuff happens, and it was like it's so unfortunate. It was like a genuine, she just lost him where she was,
Yeah.
and then she like got a new one. That's such a crazy, like, he was such a great dude, and then the fact that he turned 180 and he was like, if I can't have happiness, like no one can. Honestly, I respect the drive. The fact that he had that daycare on lockdown is
You
crazy.
gotta love a man full of malice.
And he smelled like strawberries. And then my college roommate got me a Lotso bear, and my Lotso, he has never been abandoned by me, so therefore he's not bad, and he's not running a daycare right now.
Golly.
Yeah, so he still smells like strawberries. I have had him for over 5 years, so
That's tough as heck.
yeah. And it's so sad also, like, that baby didn't
That
change his
cross-eye.
mind, and then they were literally about to die, and then he still was like, I'm gonna let you guys burn. And I was like,
And then
okay.
the aliens were like, the claw.
Yeah.
With the incinerator. Which,
So-
mind you, later discussion, but that shit traumatizing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That was, yeah.
You're like, these toys are melting alive.
Yeah.
Number ones?
Number ones.
All right, let's see how you think about this. My number one is Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc.
Dude! Shout out Marie, you better watch this.
First
you better
off,
listen.
Billy Crystal, goated.
Wow.
He's also just like a source of comedy since day one as a kid. For the nostalgia lovers out there, I had the blue VHS of Monsters, Inc. as a kid. If you know about that, you're a real one. If you don't, look it up and you'll be a real one. Mike Wazowski, he was a source of humor to me as a kid, and over the years the jokes just landed harder and harder as I got older. And Monsters, Inc. also just a very compelling movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike Wazowski, sure, he's like comic relief, but he also, like, as much as he doesn't want to change from following the rules at Monsters, Inc., he kind of realizes that he has to in order to move forward and have everything be done and over with. And he has fun along the way. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. It's the song from the movie.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, what's your number one?
Well, I do want to say though, I also think that they did him really well in Monsters University. What a shock. We'll probably talk about it in the future. I actually had no plan to talk about it, but we're gonna talk about
we're gonna Pixar.
they did from University to Monsters Inc. really well, and he was super cutie in that too, showing like how much he wanted it and everything. So my sister Marie's my sister, for those of you who don't know. She loves him. We're at a
Mike Wazowski the dog.
We're at a crossroads right now because Muppets is leaving Hollywood Studios and Disney World, and it's being replaced with Monsters Inc. And I'm pissed and also happy for her. So whatever.
Shout out Mike's new car for Pixar shorts. Shit rules.
Yeah, even the show is good. Yeah, it's so cute. No, I fully support you in that. I thought you were gonna say something like, I don't know. I was kind of hoping that you would say like Finn McMissile from Cars 2.
No,
Such a cool guy.
Mike Wazowski's my personal favorite.
Yeah, dude, is it because he has your same name?
No. There's a lot of characters in the movies named Mike that I despise, but I can't name them off the top of my head.
Dang.
There's just a lot of them.
Mine, if you're anyone related to me or close to me, you're gonna you know, and if not, you're about to find out. My number one is no surprise. It is Dory from Finding Nemo, and I say Finding Nemo first, obviously, because we saw her first. Like a fish with short-term memory loss. Like I just imagine like talking.
Rememberly loss.
I just imagine talking to like a Victorian child and being like, "Have you ever seen a fish that has the memory loss?" And then being like, "What?" And I'm like showing them.
Give a Victorian child Doritos.
That would be crazy.
Blow their mind.
Yeah. I was obsessed with Dory. I thought she was so cute, and I loved Ellen DeGeneres, removing the art from the artist. I loved her voice for this. And, I'm
in the same boat with Kevin Spacey as Hopper and Bug's Life. Art from the artist, but continue.
And I think it's just so, you saw the silly sides of Dory, and you also saw the really frustrating thing about living with what she had, how like Marlin or other people would get so upset with her, but like she really couldn't help it, and whatever. Yeah. And I love, like, when life gets you down, you know what you gotta do? Just keep swimming. I also love Finding Nemo the musical, and I love her song in that. I know a lot of people that don't. And I remember when I was like, they better make a Finding Dory. Like, I don't even know how that would work. And I remember I had a countdown on my Instagram. It's gonna have Finding Dory is gonna come out in 3 years. And when Ellen DeGeneres announced it, I was, oh my gosh. Oh my god. And I had friends, and my friends and I made tie-dye, like blue tie-dye white t-shirts, and my mom, shout out mom, she ironed on Dory onto them and went to the theater in them. So I can probably try and pull up that photo, but it's gonna be really embarrassing. But you know what? Yeah, most of the time when I watch things or listen to stuff, I don't love it the first pass. For some reason, that's how it is.
It depends on the movie for me, but I'm similar.
If I find, we'll talk about this at some point.
Yeah.
If I find, like when I found Chappell Roan, for example, I found one video of her singing Red Wine Supernova, and I was like, I'm gonna like her. And I listened to that album and I liked it. But when I listened to Selena Gomez's new album, I didn't watch anything about it. I was like, I know that this came out. I gotta listen to it. I listened to it. I did not like it. I watched the new Captain America, and I was like, it's kind of fine. You know what I mean? So I know that when I watch Captain America again, I'll be like, okay, cool. When I saw Finding Dory, it wasn't everything I had hoped it would be in the beginning, but I didn't cry about it, which is really good. But now I liked it, and I love Destiny, and I love like everything in the whatever. Yeah. I just like the new things that introduced for her and her backstory and her cutie little parents and
the purple seashells.
Yes, I feel like
guiding her way home.
It was a really weird movie, but
it was fun.
Yes, and I think that
they weren't going for critical acclaim. They were like, everyone wants a sequel. We're gonna make a fun sequel.
And Thomas Newman did kind of do that. So, with the music, so.
Yeah. We'll also do a composer's discussion, but.
Yes. Thomas Newman.
A lot of rankings will be made.
Yes. So yeah, Dory, icon.
Yeah.
Comment down below if Mike Wazowski and Dory got in a fight, who would win?
I don't know about that. One's a fish. One's gonna drown.
Okay, well.
And it's not Dory.
Okay, well, try and think outside the box here. I don't know. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So that was our top 5 Pixar characters.
Yay.
If you guys have any comments on our rankings, let us know.
And if you want to leave your comments about...
Yeah, what are your top 5?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Cool.
Now dig on this.
This week, the next segment is going to be Now Dig on This from Spider-Man 3. So each episode, we are going to assign one another either an album or an artist or a movie or director, something within the industry that we don't know yet. And we will assign it to one another and be like, hey, check this out, dig on this, and vice versa. And then the following episode, you will get our report, which will be coverage of the assignment we were given.
And so that means that the most basic format of the podcast right now, always subject to change, we're awesome, is center stage, updating on music and movie news and our own music and movie news, I guess. Then it'll be our top 5s of whatever. And then we'll either do our report on whatever we were assigned, or we'll do a spotlight where we'll talk about something that we both already know, something we both already like. We want to hear each other's thoughts more and get more into it. And then the last segment will be Now Dig on This, what we want each other to listen to or watch or whatever for next time. And you guys are more than welcome to also get on that journey with us if you want.
If it's something you guys have not heard or seen before, feel free to follow along and feel like it's part of the show.
Yeah.
The spotlight, it's going to be like a brief history of a given like director, composer, artist, actor. Actor is a bit broad, but
I also want to say that movies and music, we can also talk about, like music videos or costumes. I really would like to have
because costumes became part of like identity with MTV.
But yeah,
like,
and
costumes became the artist and vice versa.
Mm.
The reports and spotlight will not happen in the same episode. The spotlight will typically take the place of reports, and that gives us more time to follow through on the assignments from the previous episode, as well as sharing information about like specific artists that we believe are pivotal to the film and music industries.
Nice. I do also want to say, if there's anything you guys want us to listen to, maybe we can do an audience report at some point.
Yeah, it might be on like our Instagram story. Like we'll sometimes post like new recs with like a fill in the message thing, and then we'll receive them and we'll go through them and be like, all right, we'll check out these and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Rather than having like a swath of stuff.
Yeah.
Have it be like on our terms.
Yeah. Which takes me to the last thing we wanted to say is that we are trying to be on social media. Where also on Instagram, we plan to be on Letterboxd. Mike's on there.
Yes, I have a personal, but I won't drop it because this is about the podcast.
Yeah.
If you find my personal Instagram, which I'm sure you will eventually, it'll be tagged at some point. It'll have a link to my personal film diary. But
cool.
Letterboxd, for those that don't know, is a place to catalog movies that you've seen, your star rating out of 5, your reviews for them, and it compiles into a diary, and there's a watch list tab so you can keep track of what you want to watch. Typically, as a user, that watch list will exceed your limit on life, and you will not get to all of them. But it's a useful platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will also be on Music Board, which is the music version of Letterboxd. I personally have never used it before, but
me neither.
We found it for the show.
We're gonna figure it out by the time this goes live, so
For sure.
yeah.
But we are on Instagram as the 4M Podcast, all lowercase. And we have a link tree in the bio that connects all of the socials in one place. Speaking on Instagram, our story will typically be an interactive platform rather than just spewing information to you guys. We're looking for like audience engagement, building a community, having fun with it. So one of the options that we're going to have on the pod is we're going to post brackets on our Instagram story. So for example, like we just did our top 5 Pixar characters. That was just like personal rankings, not by vote or anything. The brackets will be, as far as I'm aware, we're going to aim for like 32 entries on each bracket. And they'll be like sourced from like the internet for like the world's top 32. And then we'll bring it to you guys on a tiered ranking, and it'll be like this character versus this character. And each time you vote, it'll go to the next round. Whoever wins, that's the community's arguable favorite.
Yay! And then we'll talk about it on here.
Yes.
If it's around the time when we're recording. It's not always going to be a consistent thing.
True.
That we talk about. So just keep an eye out on our Instagram stories for that. And we're going to make a highlight when we have enough. If you guys ever want to look back and be like, who voted for that? Yeah. I also want to say that we do want to try and do some lives. Some Instagram lives.
Yes.
Perhaps. If people are into that sort of thing. Watching new stuff. Or going, if we want to have a bigger discussion where we get you guys talking to us in real time. Woo!
True. Some of you know our faces. Others, it will be the first time seeing us on Instagram.
Yeah. So, if you guys like
Besides our post that says meet the host.
Yeah. So, let us know if that's something you guys would be into. Because I love a good live. But I feel like...
Yeah, I'm typically kind of camera shy. But I'll get used to it. It happens. I'm fine with audio.
Yeah. Cool. At some point, I would love for us to go more in depth on our music history and how we each separately take in music. Like I was talking about, elaborating on the playlist that I have. If you guys ever wanted to follow along, we could create a Spotify where I put all those songs in there. That would be kind of crazy and cathartic for me, especially during like certain semesters, having like you guys listen to certain songs along with me. But yeah, we can, in words of Mr. Incredible, we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, if you do think that we should have a Spotify, if you want any recommendations or anything like that, let us know. Reach out to us individually as well.
For sure.
But we'll talk about you anyway, so
yeah.
So
I have 2 notes. This first one is in regards to audience engagement. We will keep things anonymous. We will never name drop a user.
True. Wow, I can't believe we went through this whole podcast without mentioning Harry Potter at all. I don't even think I...
Not me, not
Hermione,
you.
I don't even think... Guys, I also love Harry Potter, and I really want us to talk about it. I don't think I even told Mike how much I do really want to talk about it.
I mean, we're gonna rank movies or characters at some point, inevitably.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Like, this will be focused on later on.
This will be...
An everlasting love.
Between us and
I have
you
a favorite
guys.
Harry Potter movie that most people wouldn't consider their favorite, but that's just me. We will get into it later.
Why would you do that? Okay.
Because it gives the audience something to look forward to.
Ugh, he's so correct. All right. Are we going to give each other a assignment?
Yeah, what's now dig on this?
So my dig on this is dependent on what your assignment is. So Mike, you have the floor. What is my assignment?
I would like to hear my assignment first.
No!
We're going to make it fun.
We're going to play rock, paper, scissors right now to decide who goes first. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Dang.
Scissors over
All
paper.
Right. I lost, and that's okay because I will give some padding on this first assignment because it is the first one.
Yeah.
I will give a partial filter. Molly, what is your preferred genre for a given assignment? For the first episode. For a movie.
Oh.
What is your vibe?
Ugh. You probably don't know. Just not horror. You can do anything
So
else.
not horror.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I won't give you my number one movie, which we haven't discussed. But I won't give it to you because it's above all the others. I can't do that.
Okay.
So, I think your first assignment should be to watch the animated Studio Ghibli film Kiki's Delivery Service. It is about a 13-year-old witch who goes out on her own for the first time. And it's a coming-of-age story. I have a poster in my room. It's pretty sweet. And
Points to poster.
it is right behind Molly, and she does not know what it is. So
He's not wrong.
she goes out on her own for the first time at 13 and finds a town on the ocean front. Not knowing how to use her powers for like the public good, she becomes a courier for a bakery.
Whoa.
And in the process, she becomes a courier for like other products and like goods, toys, blah blah blah. And she has like a moment of self-doubt and has to like find her way again. And it's very lighthearted, and the soundtrack is awesome. Shout out composer Joe Hisaishi.
I have listened to some of his stuff before.
Good. Also, the credits for Kiki's Delivery Service, you will enjoy the credit music a lot.
Thank you.
Opening and closing.
Nice. Wow.
So that's your first assignment, Kiki's
Yay.
Delivery Service by Hayao Miyazaki.
Cool. This bump.
What was my first assignment?
Choose either 59 minutes or an hour and 16. The difference is, guys, he knows what one of them could be, but not what the other one is. So it's your choice.
I'm going to go with the 59.
Okay. I'm going to have Mike listen to Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande, including the deluxe tracks that came out a couple weeks ago. I have my own thoughts on it, which obviously we'll talk about next time. So enjoy that, Mike.
Yeah.
I do want to say she wrote this album in time of her life when, you know, she like kind of broke up with her. Did they get married?
Who?
Her fiance, Ariana Grande. No, they did get married. It was a beautiful wedding, by the way.
I didn't mean Ariana. I meant the fiance.
Oh, I don't know.
Some dude.
He's not important because he was me.
He's been replaced by SpongeBob. Or
and then
Sorry,
yeah,
Bach.
Bach. We deserve. Okay. A weird time in her life, and it's cool. And I think that's a very some of it's serious, and then some of it's like really not. And I kind of just want to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
I would say it's like my top 20 of like 2024. Some of the songs in there I really feel, and then some of them I don't, but they're still cute. And I do think even though I like Billie Eilish's new album more, I do think that she should have at least gotten some sort of Grammy nomination at this past Grammys.
True.
I do believe that she was
very
snubbed.
good.
Now, if you guys don't really have enough time to listen to what we assign each other, we are going to give you guys one song from each of us to listen to whenever you're feeling it.
Yeah.
It's going to be whatever we're feeling at the time. For me, I'm probably just going to reiterate what I'm already listening to so that you guys can understand where I'm at right now with what I'm listening to. But yeah. So what's your song?
This is going off of when Molly was talking about Grease by Frankie Valli being a Windows Down song.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the speed you're driving. This song is my Windows Down driving in the summer sun, like Sunset, Quiet Road.
Ooh.
This song is All the Answers by McCone and Benedict.
Ooh.
It is an indie pop song. The lyrics may be a little bit sad, but the backing music and the overall vibe and the album cover, graphic design necessary, the album cover and the backing music create a vibe that I like a lot.
Is it like a sad you're healing, a sad you need to cry?
It's sad in the sense that like the audience will understand after I explain this and they listen to it if they do. It's kind of like hindsight. Like the first line in the song it goes along the lines of, if you felt that way, you should have let me know.
Oof. Dang.
That's like the beginning of the song. But the music itself is very relaxing and it's a very fun song to listen to while you're driving.
So my question is I kind of want to like base mine off of like what yours is. Like, should I do something similar? Because I have a roll down the window playlist, but I have songs that are like that, or maybe like the opposite. I'm gonna give Mike the option.
Go from the heart so they know who they're listening to.
Go from the
host
heart.
Host by host.
Oh my gosh.
My heart will go on. There's nothing I fear.
Okay, I think I kind of want to go with a similar vibe then.
You do that.
Yeah.
Woo!
Actually, no. No, that's like an opposite. Loving is Easy by Max Orange County.
That song bangs.
Yeah.
It's in Ted Lasso. Shout out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's in season 1.
Wow.
When they're building Legos with their son.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with that one then. I'm going to go with Loving is Easy by Rex Orange County. Love him. I imagine when I'm driving and I have the windows down, I imagine that I'm roller skating and that I have headphones on and it's playing that song. The problem is I actually can't roller skate and I don't have wireless headphones. I didn't understand that reference.
Those who get that music reference, you're cool.
Oh, all right.
I'm not saying you're not, but like that's a niche reference and I respect those that get it.
Now I need to get it, so
I will play it after we finish recording.
If roller skating is in fact not easy, but loving apparently is, so. Okay.
Except for when you listen to All the Answers by McCone and Benedict, you'll realize love is kind of difficult.
Especially when you go on a boat that hits an iceberg.
And then you go, I'm going to remember this guy 84 years. That's love, brother.
Yeah. So that was all from us from this episode. Thank you so much for listening to our introductions. We hope you enjoyed what we had to say, what we're going to say. And we're trying to put out episodes every other Wednesday. Obviously, check in our Instagram, our YouTube for changes. We can't guarantee.
True. We'll have announcements if there's like a live, if we can't.
Yeah.
Like if there's a pause in our episode schedules, we'll make a live or Instagram interactivity kind of thing to keep the thing going.
Yeah. We love open communication. You can't see me, but I'm doing a thumbs up. So.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Mike, you have anything else you want to say?
Mike Wazowski, the GOAT.
All right.
Even though he's a monster, he's the GOAT.
he's nice. He's a sweet
He's not a GOAT. He's the GOAT.
He's the. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we will
Hear from
Hear from
you
you
next
next time.
episode.